Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for June 25th, 2019. Q's down 1.76%, still at the lows right now. SPY 0.98. Very, very weak. Been in all-out downtrends all day here, okay? To recap what we were looking at coming into today, we did notice that the SPY was starting to break the hourly uptrend, but for the time being, the Q's hourly uptrend was still intact. We did break it as soon as we opened this morning, so that took us out of our bullish bias, waiting to see if we got follow through, and we sure did, right? So I know some people had in the room a more aggressive bearish bias coming into today, had the Q's short, so very nice play for them. I was watching to see if we were going to break this hourly uptrend and get follow through first before initiating the bearish bias. So I guess in hindsight, not as bearish as we should have been today, but that does put us in a position now where the next retracement, the next rally is a shortable opportunity, or if we base. Okay, so we'll be looking or expecting a bit of a rally, and then the rally should give us an hourly sell setup and a shortable opportunity. I won't be surprised if that sell setup fails, just because the other time frames, the weekly and the monthly, still are in this uptrend, and then the daily has gotten to an area where there is support. Okay, so that's what we'll be watching for, all right, to see if we get some kind of retracement. Now, pretty nice follow through today. Things kind of got accelerated there from some comments from the Fed chairman. Okay, and so all in all, not too worried about any of that specifically. We're going to stick with the charts, let the charts be our guide. What we wanted to see was if this hourly trend broke, would we get follow through, and we sure did. Okay, I do think we still have room lower. We don't necessarily have to bounce right away, but I think the higher odds opportunity for a short would be on a rally. Okay. So also just keeping in mind going into tomorrow, the gap ups will have a more likelihood of shock value. Now I know we have some different names, the MU for instance, the also the BB. So if these can actually gap over resistance, those will be what I'm focused on in the morning. So for in the case of the MU, it was around 37, and then for this one, it's going to be around 9. So on a gap up, you can see that we've been getting sold here on the BB. MU is undergoing the same thing, and that's partly due to the market. So that's been getting these going. So I believe this one is actually around 36. Over this consolidation here would be a pretty good gap up to go after. Okay, so just know that today's market actually helps point us in the direction of tomorrow's gap ups. Might have a bit more potential than the gap downs. That's going to be tough too. Something after multiple bars like this, something else that gaps down, in the case of like the BB, is going to have a lot of that selling, a lot of that potential continuation already taken out of the bag. Okay. All right. So today's plays were all on the ABBV. This was the big one. They are buying the AGN. Okay. And we've seen this before, right? That the person doing the acquisition is a good short opportunity. We had that yesterday on the ERI. ERI was buying CZR, right? And that ended up getting sold. Last week we had the PB. It's just pretty common that if the buyer gaps down, that they're a good opportunity to short. So this was the PB. I don't remember who they were purchasing, but this was also an acquisition just like the ABBV and the ERI. So those are the ones making the acquisition. Okay. As far as the setup goes on the ABBV, set up a 1 minute high low. This morning, I think this was probably the most played setup that we had today. So a lot of people played it, who said they played it in the room. right? So this was given just as a 1 minute high low, the break of the 1 minute, and then trailed actually over the 1 minute. And then a second play was given here in the afternoon as a 15-minute breakdown. Okay, so as the 15-minute 20 MA caught up as a new play, given as a breakdown there under 66, you can see it dropped to 65.06. Okay, on the ABBV. So this was really shortable all day, especially if you stuck with it. You know, that was something kind of, this was okay to be held all day. Notice the 65-minute here still intact as it made its way lower. So very impressive sell-off on the ABBV. I'm sure the market as well helped keep this thing, keep the selling pressure on it. Okay, so that was the ABBV. Now we had a discussion yesterday also. What do we want to see in the first 15 minutes? Is big volume, right? So if you hadn't played this at the open, you were looking for another way to play this. This confirmed for you that this was a very, very important gap. Whether someone from a fundamental side did not like the acquisition they were making, thought they were paying too much, or it was just longs who didn't like that they were getting out, that this was breaking the base, that this was getting sold, right? Whatever the reason that they come to, this tells you that there were a lot of people coming to the same conclusion, which is they wanted to sell it. Okay, so that was the ABBV. I thought the long struggled, was very cautious on playing some of these longs, although the gaps were nice. I thought that the biggest issue with these really was the spread. I thought the spread, you know, the XNCR, I guess, still holding up okay here, you know, still up 14%, but most of that is from the gap. Just too spready to play, and, you know, and it's just one of those things where I want to manage risk, right? And I know that getting in, I'm going to take slippage. Getting out, I'm going to take slippage. So it really takes away the potential reward to risk on something like this. Although it looked nice, it's just there was a lot of that. USNA also falls in that category. I thought USNA just a little bit too sloppy to be played, even if, you know, it's a pretty solid gap up. If we get something like this tomorrow on the MU, like gapping over this consolidation after being in a long-term downtrend, I think this will have a lot better shot of getting follow through. So if the MU gaps up over 36, right, that's what we'll be looking for. So I think that'll have a better shot, especially if the market's not in an all-out power trend like it was today. So pretty big sell-off in the market. You know, we did identify that we did need to shed our bullish bias as soon as the open came in, but impressive and well done for those that came into today with a short bias. I know some people who shorted the Qs yesterday held it into today. So very nice job. A little bit less aggressive on my part, but now we're in a position where we can look for the next sell setup, or if this bases out, next breakdown. Okay. Now, what could it look like for this to set up? I think if you're in the position with or you're looking for a more long-term approach, this could be setting up a buy setup, basically a higher low. So we've been in this uptrend here, right, moving up, and here was a higher low. And if we set up another buy setup, could be a good buying opportunity to continue this weekly and this monthly run up. Okay, so it's a little bit early, but I think it's something if you're looking for a more long-term approach to the market, looking for an entry. We're not ready yet for it, but this is the kind of thing you want to see. And if we start to stabilize from here and then go back up, that's kind of as soon as we break a previous bar's high. Maybe if it looks something like this, we get some of that basing here, will be a good opportunity. Okay, so we'll see what we get tomorrow. We're going to have a bearish bias, but I'd like to see the market rally first, give us a sell setup. Okay, tough to want to short the market after this many red bars in a row. Okay, not necessarily the best approach, not the highest reward to risk when you're coming in after shorts are already getting paid. Okay, so just be aware going into tomorrow, bearish bias, but not necessarily good timing to initiate a new play. And especially on the gap ups tomorrow, I'll be looking at the ones with shock value. Okay, all right, hope you did well today. If not, we'll be back at it tomorrow and we'll see what the market brings us. All right, have a good evening.